Hey, shalom guys. This video, we're going to call it a life lesson. The enemy can come in when we least expect it, through doorways we didn't realize that we opened. It is really, really easy to let the enemy in. Even when you think you have a firm foundation and you're strong in Abba, he comes in and he weasels his way in through those doorways that you once had closed, because those doorways are familiar to us, and sometimes the dog returns to the vomit. And this is what happened to me recently. In fact, this ties into some of the experiences I was shown in my prior video to this. I was being warned by Abba, and I didn't have eyes, ayin, to see, or ears to hear what the Spirit was speaking to me. And instead, I heard the wrong spirits. It's really that easy. It really, really is. It really puts into perspective how Hawa, or Eve, was deceived in the garden. So, what we have here is, we got Resh depicted as a woman, and we've got the wheat, and we've got the tares. And I started this about 2-ish months ago. I started with the head, I did the wheat, the tares, and then I just started adding more as time went on. And little did I know at that time that I was drawing a depiction of myself. Now this woman here, she's very colorful. I'm pretty colorful in personality. Yeah, I am. So it makes sense why I drew all this color, because I'm very colorful. But at the end of this video, I'll explain more into why all these bright rainbowish colors were being used. So as you guys can see, I have Tet in here, but I did Tet a little different. Can you guys see? Tet reveals Ta, which for anyone who has seen previous videos, I talk a lot about Tet revealing Ta. But in this depiction, I actually made the Ta into 4 feet, 4 gimel. And so we actually have Tet, Ta, Dalet, and Gimel all within this. And then I started drawing her hair, and I was just doing little squiggly wave lines. And then I'm like, you know what? I could easily make those into Noon, the seed. So I started drawing seeds. And then I did her eye, or ayin. And I made the center of her eye, the apple of her eye, if you will, into Tet also, because this is a model that Abba showed me a while ago, is a model of our earth. And that goes into a video I already did. And then we've got her mouth, Pei. And then I wrote this up here. And it's all kind of smushed together, and if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you're going to see here that this actually spells guard the doorway of your mind. And sometimes words can be confusing. We hear the wrong words, we listen to the wrong messages, we listen to lies. The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Well, still what? What Abba has planted, what seeds he has planted in our resh, our mind. There's 4 quadrants to your mind. I did this in a more recent video too. 4 areas of our mind. Our mind is constantly turning, kind of like a wheel in the middle of a wheel. And ideas, and we're processing information. This is what the Tet wheel describes in this case. Processing all these seeds that we are having enter our mind. And some of these seeds, as beautiful and colorful as they are, we don't want to consume all of them. We only want to consume the ones that Abba is bringing to us. But as you can see, this woman has a lot of hair, as do I. And a lot of seeds can come in to this brain of mine. It's a mangled, jangled up mess in here sometimes, y'all. There's so much in me, in my brain, that a lot of times I have a hard time using English words to convey all of it. And some things I don't need to convey. I need to shut my pay and do less conveying. So down here, I drew this. These 4 areas, as we see up here in the mind. Our mind contains 4 doorways. We got the ayin, we got the pei, we got the ear, and we also have our nose, our nostrils. They're all different doorways that we can let the enemy in. And so down here though, I've got food, water, shelter, and love. These are the 4 areas that all of us need. Every man, woman, and child from the beginning of time till the end of time. These are the 4 things we need to survive. We need water, because we have to consume it in order to live. But we also have water inside of us. We need the water of the word of Mem to be implanted inside of us. We need physical food to put in these physical bodies, but we need spiritual food too from Abba. We need what's good for us. We need to consume what is healthy and refreshing and rejuvenates us. I'm going to skip down here. We need shelter. This is our house. We need to take care of this physical house. And we need to take care of the house that Abba has given us to dwell in while we're in this earth. And then we need, lastly here, love. But actually, love combines all of these together. If we do not have the love of Abba inside of us, dwelling inside of us, We're just dead people walking around. There's no sustenance or fruit of love within us. All of these things, in order to have a feeling of completeness inside of us, we need all of these. And ironically, they all start in the mind. Let me explain. We feed ourselves through the pay, the mouth. We put water in our mouth. We shelter ourselves. And what we believe and what we conceive and what we think right here in our mind, this is a form of a shelter, because what we hold inside of our minds either makes us feel that we have protection, which is what a house does. And then we've got love. Everything is turning and processing in our minds. We need to have all of these things in order to survive, or we die. We die physically and spiritually. So I'm going to read a couple of passages here. We're going to start off in Matthew 13, verse 3 through 31. And he spoke to them much in parables, saying, See, the sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, some indeed fell by the wayside, and the birds came and devoured them. And others fell on rocky places where they did not have much soil, and immediately they sprang up, and because they had no depth of soil. But when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered. And others fell among thorns, and thorns came up and choked them. Thorns are the tares, the enemy. And others fell on good soil and yielded a crop, some 100-fold, some 60, and some 30. He who has ears, let him hear. And the taught ones came and said to him, Why do you speak to them in parables? And he answering said to them, Because it has been given to you to know the secrets of the reign of the heavens, but to them it has not been given. So they were able to know these secrets, these intimate knowings that Abba put inside of them. But when Yeshua spoke all these parables, he did not try to explain himself as to what these things meant to the masses. He explained what they meant among his disciples, the Talmudim, but he did not feel that he needed to explain himself, which is very interesting, because a lot of people feel like they have to explain why they believe the way that they do. If Yeshua didn't do this, neither do we. Because sometimes the things that were revealed, they look crazy, off the wall, they make no sense to other people. People say, oh, that was by Beelzebub. Same thing happened to Yeshua. But the difference is, these experiences that some of us have, they're supernatural, and you can't explain the supernatural, because people want solid proof that they can feel and see and touch. But when you start explaining to people the supernatural realm of Abba, because he dwells with those who are in spirit. And so we are to seek him through faith, not by what we see. So, getting back to this, for whoever possesses, to him more shall be given, and he shall have overflowingly. But whoever does not possess, even what he possesses, shall be taken away from him. Because of this I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see. And hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. And in them the prophecy of Yeshayahu, Isaiah, is completely fulfilled, which says, hearing you shall hear and by no means understand, and seeing you shall see and by no means perceive. For the heart of this people has become thickened, and their ears are hard of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, lest they should understand with their heart and turn back and I heal them. And blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. For truly I say to you, that many prophets and righteous ones longed to see what you see and did not see it, and to hear what you hear and did not hear it. You then hear the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the rain and does not understand it, then the wicked one comes and snatches away what was sown in his heart. This is that sown by the wayside. And that sown on rocky places, this is he who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has no root in himself, but is short-lived, and when pressure or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. And that sown among the thorns is he who hears the word, and the worry of this age and the deceit of riches choke the word, and it becomes fruitless. And that sown on the good soil is he who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and yields, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. These are the seeds. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed darnel, or tares, among the wheat and went away. And when the blade sprouted and bore fruit, then the darnel also appeared. And the servants of the master of the house came and said to him, Master, did you not sow good seed in your field? From where then does it have darnel? And he said to them, an enemy, did this. And the servants said to him, do you wish then that we go and gather them up? But he said, no, lest while you gather up the darnel, you also uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest, and at that time of harvest I shall say to the reapers, first gather the darnel and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my granary, my house. So guys, we have to be really careful to not let the tares, the darnel, because these tares, they started out with seeds, started out with noon. We have to be really careful not to let these seeds grow in our resh, our mind. These tares, these darnel over here, are like samach, the thorn. And so we're going to make them look kind of like samach. You notice when you go through a field of briars, whew, they grab a hold of you, and in order to get them off of your clothes, you gotta pull those suckers off of you, and them spiky things on them, they freaking hurt. So the darnel now has turned into the thorns. turned into samech. And we have to be really careful, y'all, to not let these seeds come into our mind and produce darnel, samech, tares. Because just like when we grow something in our garden, the tares, the samech, the thorns, the weeds, they come up and they choke out what's been planted by Abba. So we need to get rid of all that stuff so that way there's room for the seeds of Abba to grow, expand, and blossom. And this parable here of Yeshua, he speaks about those that need to be on guard, shamar. They need to guard their minds to not let that enemy in. And over here, this is the good seed that was planted, what was produced by these seeds that Abba had planted within the mind of man. And as you can see, these ones have heads on them. They look a little different, pretty similar, but when they're growing up, before they ever produce any heads on them, the darnel and the wheat look the same. But once you come to harvest time, once he's ready to pluck us out and take us to his house, his granary, the fruit of the plant produces heads, like us, different colors, produces heads, and those heads bow down from the weight. The darnel, the tares, they stand up straight. Look at me. I know all this information. Look at me. I'm strong in my walk. Nothing can topple me over. The tares are those that have pride and puffed upness inside of them, inside of their resh, their minds. And that pride and that arrogance that we all have takes root. We need to clean out the house, clean out our resh, clean out our mind. This actually goes back to getting the leaven out of the house. You've got to get the darnel, the tares, out of the house of your mind. Stay humble. That is the key. Stay humble. It doesn't matter what you know. I get up here, I've been doing these videos for, I guess, a couple years now. I don't know. And I share what Abba shares with me, what he teaches me. I've got to go through the fire before I can actually put these videos out and share with other people who are going through some of the same things, just in a different way that's more specific to them and their character. But if I don't go through the flames myself, how can I share all of this with other people? And the information that I share on these videos, y'all, this didn't come from me. This isn't my knowledge. I'm just a messenger. What Abba bestows inside of me is what he has chosen to plant in me. I didn't choose this. I didn't even know how to draw. Really, anything like this? No way. Till a couple years ago. Like, these are the things that he has put inside of me, that he's planted inside of me that I didn't know was in there. He's uncovering all the treasures amongst all the tares, the garbage that the world has fed me my entire existence. I'm trying to sort through the wheat and the tares of my own mind, my own resh. And guys, it is really, really hard. Let me tell you guys a story, and then we're going to go and read through the rest of these scriptures here. This life lesson that I experienced recently really taught me something. I didn't realize how easy it was for the enemy just to sneak his way back in, just walk back into that doorway of the house. But I went on a trip recently, and I was reintroduced to a life that I had formerly turned away from, turned my mind away from, because I'm not that person anymore. I thought to myself, I need to go see them. And so I went. I had reservations about going because formerly in the past, I had visited them and I had actually seen a demon in their house. These people that are walking around in this world do not understand the spiritual implications. They're living their lives. They, let's go shopping. Let's go to the beach. Let's talk about meaningless conversations that have no fruit and Abba in them, that are just darnel, that they don't produce anything but meaningless fruit, rotten fruit. And this is what I experienced while I was on this trip. And you can't make people have a love for Abba. They say they believe in, God. But their lifestyle, how they speak, what fruit they produce from the words that come from their mouth and from their lifestyle says a lot. And by the time I left, I literally felt like Abba had left me while I was there. I can't explain that to anyone. Maybe somebody can relate to this, but I literally felt like dead in Abba by the time I left, because every day when I'm in my normal realm here, Abba's on my mind every day. I don't talk about meaningless conversations. I talk about Abba for hours, whether that's in my own mind, whether that's to my girlfriends on the phone, whether that's, with my husband, or I'm listening. I'll put stuff on my phone and I'll listen to it, scriptures and whatnot, constantly letting the things not of the world consume me, the things of Abba. And I didn't get to do that at all. And ironically, I was there. I traveled one day there, traveled one day back, but I was actually there for 4 days, which is the number for Dalit, 4. And so I knew before I went, I talked to Abba about it, I prayed. I asked him to protect me, so that way the demons that I knew that were there, they can't hurt me. I was going in there thinking, I'm strong. I know there's demons here, but I'm strong, it's okay. Well, it wasn't okay. It wasn't okay. And for one, I also didn't go with my husband. So some of these things that I experienced while I was there, things that I was allowing my eyes to watch on the television, was telling me lies that I had formerly turned away from. I had been delivered of entertainment addiction. I was delivered of a lot of demons, strongholds, forms of samech or tears back in 2020, a lot. Like 2020, I know a lot of people are like, oh, you know, the world's coming to an end, you know, all this stuff. But I gotta say, that is not what was happening with me. I was experiencing supernatural things that I can't even explain to people unless they themselves have actually experienced it. Then people can relate with me. And I'm so thankful that I have people in my life who experience these supernatural things, because I'd feel crazy. I would feel crazy if it was just me. But thankfully I got my girlfriends. I got Whitney, I've got Heather, I've got Tiffany, I've got Christy, I got various other people. I've got Talitha. They experience all this type of stuff. And so I know that I'm not going insane. Abba put these people in my life, and I'm so thankful, because I really would feel very alone. But I did feel alone when I was on this trip. So even though every day, you know, there was conversations, you know, happening, I'm a woman of many words. But that's only because when I have something to say about Abba, you can't shut me up. But around these people, I was very silent. Candace being silent. It's because there was meaningless conversations that had nothing to do with Abba. It was just vanity and worthlessness. And so I soon recognized while I was there that Abba caused me to be sick. And I understand why, because I allowed myself to watch with my ayin things that I knew were not okay, and lies that I was being told by the enemy, I was allowing to enter my eyes and hear with my ears. And so I was watching things that I wouldn't normally watch. I don't even watch TV like people do today. If we watch anything, it's a movie once a week, and it's actually based off a scripture or a movie that has some form of basis of belief in the Bible, like on PureFlix and stuff like that. You know, you can't, the whole television, I could go into a whole wordy conversation of play on words pertaining to television, teleportation, telecommunication, telephone. Someone's telling us what they want us to see and hear. But we have to be really careful to guard the doorway of our eyes, what we are allowing in. So after I arrived there and started watching stuff that I know wasn't okay, I reopened up these doorways and I allowed the enemy back into my mind. And Abba caused me to be sick for the remainder of me being there. Sick as in throwing up, for example. I won't go into all the other stuff, but throwing up, because he was having me throw up what I had consumed in my mind of the enemy. I don't do stuff like that. I don't get sick. Like, stuff like that doesn't happen to me, getting sick or getting upset stomach. And then I was feeling really bogged down. I was extremely tired. All these things were weighing me down. I had allowed the enemy to come back into my mind that I had once been cleansed of. And not only that, but I was also shown, just on a little side note, before I went on this trip, I had a girlfriend show me something really cool. That Aleph, which is Aleph Lamed Pei, spelled backwards, is Pei Lamed Aleph. Pei Lamed is Palal, prayer, speaking to your authority. That's what prayer is. So I was allowing the wrong ox, the wrong Aleph, to speak to me, to feed me what I had already been familiar with, those familiar spirits. I allowed them to feed me the garbage, and therefore Abba caused my body to regurgitate or throw it up. And then it didn't end. Once I left, Abba allowed me to see the Taw in the sky as I left there, in the chemtrails, ironically. Perfect X in the sky as I was leaving. These are the signs that we pay attention to. This is how Abba speaks in unfamiliar ways to us. And then before I went on this trip, that girlfriend I spoke of, Christy, she had shared that Aleph with me, forward and backwards. And I decided, because sometimes Abba speaks to me in numbers, I decided to plug the address into the Strong's numbers, H502, and that routed to Aleph. So see, these are all these things that Abba was showing me before I went. Well, then I come back home and I find out that the lady we take care of, we live in a very unique living arrangement here. We know Abba brought us here for a season until he sends us elsewhere. But for now, this is where he's planted us. And so we live on an elderly lady's property. And because Matt and I both have medical backgrounds, this replaced my husband's job that he formerly had worked in the hospital field previously to coming here. So in exchange for taking care of this person, we get to live here. And so it's kind of a bargaining opportunity. But this woman is not all peaches and cream. She's nice sometimes. The other times, she's the adversary. And we all have those tendencies inside of us, but the older we get, we're not cleaning out the house and getting rid of these tares. These tares take over the wheat. They become more ugly. The more of this you have inside of you, the more ugly you are in your heart. So there was a situation that happened about a month ago, I guess, where I had borrowed something from this woman and I accidentally left it somewhere. It was okay. I was going to go get it. Nothing happened to it. But the woman had conjured up in her mind that I had lied to her, that I was a liar, and she was so angry. She had built up so much hatred in her heart towards me that by the time I came back from my trip, she had basically told others that I was a liar and a thief. And what was interesting is those accusations, I was allowing myself to hear lies when I went to go see family. And the lies that I was allowing to enter the doorway of my mind there didn't stop as soon as I came home. I was allowing the lies that this woman accused me of to basically eat my lunch, but I started to recognize what was really going on. And then Abba gave me a dream, and I woke up the following morning, and he showed me what my drawing meant and what had happened while I was in Florida. And that's when I had the realization. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense now. So I didn't know until earlier this week that this drawing was me. And I had listened to the lies of the enemy, also through this woman here. And it was because I let the enemy in, and I was being accused, because the enemy accuses you of being wicked, doing unrighteous things, whatever. And I was faced with it here as well. And then, to make matters even more interesting, y'all, my previous video, I had talked about right over here. I heard knocking on the outside of the wall. And so there's the door again. I heard knocking. And I had a beautiful sister share something with me recently, that when you hear knocking outside of the house, that means that something's wanting in. When I heard that knocking, it was dark outside, and once again, my husband wasn't around. So something was wanting into my house, but it couldn't come into my house without me giving it permission. So then if y'all recall, I had also heard it upstairs when I had woke up the following morning. I'd heard a knock on the doorway of my mind. Well, all this ties into this drawing, because we have to let the enemy in through the gimel to spread a message. This is what Yeshua and the disciples, they went door to door spreading the good message. They walked with their gimels to the door. But the enemy also comes in. I forgot to mention that my previous video, I had a dream of an alien demon looking thing sucking papers out of the house. Well, what I was shown is that house was me. And the demons were sucking out what Abba had planted inside of my mind. And that's what was happening. I was being warned. So don't let the enemy suck out what Abba has planted, because he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And that's exactly what was happening. I thought they were meaningless papers. No, they weren't. Because if you notice, when you write something really important down, or you sort through your mail, you typically keep the things that are important for a season, or you throw them away. Well, the enemy was coming to have me throw away what Abba had planted inside of me, because the enemy does come to steal, kill, and destroy, and he wants to demolish any goodness that we have inside of us. So we really have to be on guard. We need to be on guard not to let the enemy enter our mind, because the enemy's character is unrighteousness. Don't let that unrighteousness of the enemy enter your being, your mind. So be on guard, Shamar. And you have to open up the door to him. You have to give him a way to come into you. And That's what I ended up doing. So when I came home, I had let the enemy in while I was away, and I know darn well if my husband would have been there with me, I wouldn't have watched those things that I watched, and I wouldn't have been hearing all the things I was hearing. So I ended up having very dark demonic dreams. People being mutilated, horse being mutilated, adulterous stuff. These are types of dreams that I've always had for most of my life. I experienced just real horrific, dark, demonic dreams during the night season. Most people think, oh, they're just dreams. No, dreams are not just dreams. They're telling something. They're telling a message, whether that message is coming from the enemy, from the darnel that lies within your mind, or it comes from Abba. So I had been delivered of all of those demons previously, and then I came home. I started receiving these dark dreams again that were just horrific. And now I got to go through the cleansing process of getting rid of them. So it is that easy, guys. It is that easy to let the enemy in. What you allow your eyes to see and ears to hear produces either wheat or tares. You're either being fed stuff from Abba or you're not. You're either letting messages, seeds into your mind of the enemy or of Abba. So next, let's read some of this. All right, the next one we got is Matthew 6. Starting in 22 and going to 23. The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, all your body shall be enlightened. But if your eye is evil, all your body shall be darkened. If then the light that is within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? The more tares, darnel, you have in here, that's darkness. You got to clean out the darnel. What are you allowing? Are you letting darkness to enter your ayin? I was reminded recently of a family we used to be very close with years ago. And we had to part ways because Abba told us to part ways. And that probably doesn't make sense to some people, but we were very careful with how we address this, because the people that we parted ways with, they're very nice, kind people, a blessing to many people. But what Abba was delivering us of, this family was covered up with. That's the wheat and the tares. The kids were seeing demons in the house. And Abba took me away from that family. Took both me and my husband away. And we separated ourselves because we needed to purge that evil from inside of us, from the midst of us. But also we had to separate ourselves from people that were still doing and partaking in these things that we knew were not okay. So we still love these people. But purging the evil from your midst means getting wickedness out in those that are still partaking in that wickedness, and they are unaware. Still, today, they're unaware. It doesn't mean that we stop loving them. It means we're always going to love them. And maybe one day they will be delivered of the things that we were delivered of. And maybe we can continue to have them in our lives. But until then, this is what we had to do, and it wasn't easy. So I bring that up because demons are real, guys. Some people can see them all the time. Or they experience them in different supernatural ways, like what I did with the knocking on the outside. Now I recognize that was not a good knock. I thought it was really cool. I did. I hadn't experienced it before. But I found it interesting that I experienced it while Matt was away, which doesn't happen. Like, he doesn't, we're around each other every single day, and we sleep in the same bed every night. But the 2 times that I was not with my husband, he was not around me, the enemy was trying to get in. And the enemy succeeded. I had my guard down. My ayin, familiar spirits that I had been delivered of, came rushing back in. Now I got these dark demonic dreams. But it's okay, because this was a good life lesson. So let's go to Luke chapter 11. All right, starting in 34 and going to 36. Okay. The lamp of the body is the eye. Actually, I'm going to go up one verse. And no one, when he has lit a lamp, puts it in a hidden place or under a basket, but on a lampstand, and those who come in shall see the light. The lamp of the body is the eye, ayin. Therefore, when your eye is good, all your body also is enlightened. But when your eye is evil, your body also is darkened. See to it, therefore, that the light which is in you is not darkness. If then all your body is enlightened, having no part dark, all shall be enlightened, as when the bright shining of a lamp gives you light. We have to make sure we're not letting darkness, wickedness through movies, shows, things we're watching on TV, television, teleportation. There's those play on words again. We have to really guard our eyes, our ayin, because that's how the enemy comes back in very, very easily. People think there's no, oh, it's okay, I can watch whatever I want to. But that was a major stronghold for me, because for years, starting when I was very young, I was allowed to see things that you should not be allowed to see. Guard your children's minds. Playing video games that, there's so many things, even like these kid shows that people watch. And that's how the enemy gets in. What you're allowing your kids' eyes to see and their ears to hear. They get in at a very young age. And those demons, they don't leave because people don't know how to get rid of them. They don't know how to pull the thorn out of their brain. Because once you pull that thorn out, it leaves a hole, a doorway. And Yeshua is the only one who can heal that wound that was there from the enemy who came in to steal whatever was in the house. Because that's what they do. They steal, because if Abba plants a bunch of seeds in your garden, and then the enemy comes in and has all these thorns growing up, there's no room for Abba to plant any more seeds in that garden. Just like here. Check this out, guys. This video is a lot longer than I wanted it to be, but that's okay. Look. Look at all this. This is food from Abba. All of this is grown. Look at the strawberries. Yummy. All of this is food. that Abba is blessing us with. But do you notice we got some mushrooms? We got mushrooms, guys, growing up in there. Don't have no thorns, but the mushrooms, if you let them overgrow in there, they'll uproot your plant. So you're either having things being planted in your mind from Abba or from the enemy. What seeds are you growing inside of your mind? The next one I wanted to go to is James 1:14-16. Okay. James, aka Yaakov. All right, 14-16. But each one is enticed when he is drawn away by his own desires and trapped. Then when desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And sin, when it has been accomplished, brings forth death. Do not go astray, my beloved brothers or sisters. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming from the Father of lights, with whom there is no change, no shadow of turning. So, going back here, what are we enticed? What are we desiring? Because what we have inside of our minds shows what we desire, what we grab a hold of. Kind of like a lot of women like to go shopping. Going shopping. Ooh, I want to get some new shoes, sandals. Let's get some new clothes. Let's get some new earrings and let's get some new makeup. All these things are of the world. They're not from Abba. Yes, we need clothes. We don't need to worry about what we shall eat or drink, what we shall wear, because all these the nations seek after. But seek first after the reign of Elohim, and all these shall be added unto you. He gives us what we need. Okay, in our culture here in America, there is so much vanity, it's sickening. I had something revealed to me which ties into Jeremiah 4:27-30 here. I'm going to share that here in just a minute. But if you notice my drawing here, it's very colorful. I'm a very, I like color, but not tons of color all over me. I like subtle colors, more earth tones or turquoise, which is my favorite color, more of the teal, I guess darker color. But I like to mix that with browns, with, blacks, with neutral colors. I like red, but I tone it down with the neutral colors. So I like colors, but I'm a little more even, as opposed to flamboyant colors all over the place like this drawing right here. However, in my former life, I used to wear clothes that I would never wear today. I remember an outfit I used to wear. It was like this tube top that was bright yellow with little pink flowers in it. I mean, I'm talking psychedelic, bright yellow. And then I had a skirt, that matched it. I used to wear interestingly enough, a lot of clothing and colors that I don't wear today, because I found throughout my life and my walk that my attire has become less noticeable, less, ooh, look at me. And if it was up to me, I'd wear my own clothes, ones that I made, that I actually either hunted an animal for. I would love to have a native looking dress with fringes hanging off of it. I would love to have something like that and just have a couple of those and be done with it, and wear my 3 pairs of moccasin shoes that I have and just wear that and be completely content all the time. When we focus on all these things of vanity in this world, it bogs us down. It bogs our mind down, because we're being fed seeds from the world of how how we are to appear and look. So I bring this up because this drawing is very colorful. And if you notice, this woman looks like she's got a bunch of makeup on. Anybody who watches my videos, look, do I have makeup on? Look into my eyes. No, I don't wear makeup anymore. I don't need to make up myself anymore. I don't wear lipstick. I didn't even know when I drew this. I didn't know it was me. The former me. I opened up former doorways to my past. I used to wear lipstick. I used to focus highly on my eyes, Ayin. I literally did not feel beautiful. I had to make up a new me. Guys, people do not realize that us making up ourselves, you know, shaving our legs and our armpits as women, that stuff has not been around for very long, okay? It has not been around for very long. The society that we live in today is all about vanity and looks, how a woman is supposed to present herself and appear to be socially acceptable. I don't want to be socially acceptable to the world around me. I want to be acceptable unto Yahweh. And I want to not recreate the image that He has made. Because I was made in the likeness and image of Him. I don't need to recreate myself. I don't need to dress my eyes. I don't need to wear earrings. I don't need to put on a bunch of makeup and remake myself. I don't need to dye my hair. I did all of this stuff. I don't need to shave my legs or my armpits. I am beautiful the way Abba created me. This goes back to what we desire. What we desire either corrupts our mind, puts that darnel inside of us, and opens up doorways to where we feel ugly. So why am I talking about this? What does that have to do with? It has to do with listening to the enemy and what he expects us to be like in this world around us. So in Jeremiah 4, starting in 27, we read, For thus said Yahweh, all the earth shall be a ruin, but I shall not make a complete end. On account of this, let the earth mourn and the heavens above be dark, because I have spoken, because I have purposed and shall not relent or repent, nor do I turn back from it. All the city is fleeing from the noise of the horsemen and bowmen. They shall go into bushes and climb on the rocks. All the city is forsaken, and no one is dwelling in it. And when you are ravaged, what would you do? Though you put on crimson, though you adorn yourself with ornaments of gold, though you enlarge your eyes with paint, you beautify yourself in vain. Your lovers despise you, they seek your life. So, why did I read all that? Well, verse 30 is talking about adorning ourselves. It's all vanity. Vanity, vanity. It's futile. There's no purpose. I am beautiful, just the way Abba created me to. I don't need to take away from that beauty that Abba created. I looked in the mirror recently and I looked at my eyes. I've got some pretty eyes. They're kind of like a brownish green, and then inside the pupil, the tet, there's all these pretty little eyes. How often do people look in the mirror and see these beautiful eyes that Abba has created us to have? But no, women, most of the time, they look in the mirror and they're putting on the mascara and they're, adding to. They're adding to, but at the same time taking away from the image that Elohim created us to be. I feel more comfortable now, y'all, in my skin than I have ever felt. I feel beautiful because I feel beautiful on the inside, and him transforming me over these past couple of years has transformed the outside of me as well. So the outside reflects the inside. We don't need to make up a new self-image, because that's idolization. That's making yourself an idol. Oh, I'm not beautiful enough. I need to add this stuff. We don't need to add to anything that the Abba created, because otherwise, in doing so, we're letting the enemy enter our mind. And that's why most of the shopping industry, all these things and commercials, yes, men get into it, but primarily it's focused on the women. What the women are doing, what's acceptable, what a woman should look like. A woman of Elohim is actually, I'm going to read Proverbs 31. That just came to my mind. A woman who fears Yahweh is to be praised, not a woman that's adorning herself with jewels and, fancying her hair, dyeing her hair. I got gray hair. It's been growing for several years now. It's beautiful. Scripture says gray hair is a form of wisdom. I'm 38 years old. I've had gray hair for about 5 years now. It started in my early 30s. I was plucking my gray hair out because I was embarrassed. That's something wrong up here. But Abba brought me out of all that. I'm beautiful with my hairy legs and my hairy armpits. I'm beautiful with no makeup on my face. I'm beautiful because I am made in the likeness and image of Elohim. I don't need the enemy to enter the doorway of my mind to change who I was created to be. Okay, Proverbs 31. Where are we at here? Okay. Who does find a capable wife? Starting in verse 10. For she is worth far more than rubies. The heart of her husband shall trust her, and she has no lack of gain. She shall do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She shall seek wool and flax. She made her own clothes. And with delight she works with her hands. She shall be as the ships of Tarshish. Interestingly enough, all our imports and everything that we have in this world, a lot of stuff is imported to us, just like the ships of Tarshish here. She brings in her food from afar. She also rises while it is still night and provides food for her household. And what is lawful for her girls? She shall consider a field and buy it. From her profits, she shall plant a vineyard. She's being wise with what she is investing her money into. How many women out there are throwing money away by worthless things of vanity that don't profit them none? I know I was one of them. She shall consider a field and buy it, and from her profit she shall plant a vineyard. She shall gird herself with strength and strengthen her arms. She shall taste when her gain is good. Her lamp does not go out by night. That means the lamp of her mind. She's being fed by Abba. Doesn't mean she's staying up all night getting everything done. That's where a lot of people think, and it could possibly mean, some of that too, but what I had pressed upon me by the Spirit was that the lamp is the eye, the mind, and that means that she's being taught by Abba during the night season, and she's meditating on Abba. She shall stretch out her hands to the distaff. She's helping people in need. In her hand shall hold the spindle. She's making her clothes. She's providing for her household. She shall extend her hand to the poor, and she shall reach out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of snow for her household, for all her household is dressed in scarlet. She's made all of her clothes for her family. She shall make tapestry for herself. She is dressed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. She shall make fine linen and sell them, and shall give girdles for the merchants. Strength and splendor are her garments, and she rejoices in time to come. She shall open her mouth with wisdom, and on her tongue is the Torah of kindness. She watches over the ways of her household, and does not eat the bread of idleness, idolatry, vanity, worthlessness. Her children rise up and call her blessed, her husband too, and he praises her. Many daughters have done nobly, but you have risen over them all. Loveliness is deceptive, dressing yourself up. Vanity, vanity, all is vanity. And prettiness is vain. A woman who fears Yahweh is to be praised. Give her of her fruit of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates. She's not focusing on herself. She's taking care of everybody else. And she's not buying worthless things that have no profit. Everything she does has a purpose. So lastly, I've had this sign for probably about 15 years. Strength. Confront the dark parts of yourself and work to banish them with illumination and forgiveness. Your willingness to wrestle with your demons will cause your angels to sing. Use the pain as fuel, as a reminder of your strength. This got brought to my attention because, guys, whether people recognize it or not, it's like the picture you see where you got the angel and the demon on opposite shoulders. This is so true. We allow the seeds, the demons of the adversary to enter our minds and pitch camp inside of this house. And so the good malach, or angels, are battling against the wicked ones inside of us. There's a battle of the mind continually. The flesh versus the spirit. Righteousness versus unrighteousness. We have to clean out the house. I've been talking about cleaning out the house for so long, I don't even know how long. Clean out your mind, guys. And don't let the enemy back in, because he comes to steal, kill, and destroy what Abba has planted inside of each and every one of us. It's so easy to let him in. But don't be afraid if you mess up, because it's through those learning lessons that Abba can bring us back to the right path. So confront the dark parts of yourself and work to banish them through the light of Abba with forgiveness. Forgive yourself for screwing up. Just going to tell it how it is. And then ask Abba to forgive you. Repent and ask for forgiveness. Yahshua can come in and heal those parts, and he can shut those doors, because he is the door. But the enemy has a door that he walks through as well. So we need to ask Yeshua to guard those doors and not let the enemy in. But if he already came in, we need to ask for those doorways to be shut. And only Yeshua can shut those doorways, but we have to heal and turn away from them first. And he's the one who heals us. So that's what I got for y'all today. Long video, but it's worth it, because this is huge. Clean out your house. Get rid of the tares, the darnel, the samech. Feed on the right seeds. All right, shalom, y'all. Bye.